I'm It wasn't pretty. Oh well. This isn't always my take after a win, but it is today. A win's a win. I'll take it. Beggars and choosers and winners and losers. The Chiefs won a football game in the 2025 regular season. Good. Victory Monday nonetheless. I'll take it. I hope you will as well. Welcome into Everything Else with Joshua Brisco. I'm Joshua Brisco here on KC Sports Network. You can listen to the show wherever you get your podcasts or hang out live with us right here on the KCSN YouTube channel. Tucker D. Franklin pushing the buttons behind the metaphorical glass in this instance, and then we'll bring him in along the way. A lot to get to today, almost entirely about Chiefs-Giants, if you will. I have good news and bad news, good vibes and bad vibes, but I do want to just take like 1 second before we start getting any more analytical than we're going to get right now. Do enjoy this for like a beat. Have Victory Monday be Monday. I think by Tuesday, this game was going to be deleted from a lot of our minds. Well, not after, starting at about 6 p.m. on Tuesday, after Only Weird Games completes its first show of the week. Ravens week begins at that moment. For the Chiefs right now, it might have begun on the plane ride back. Because next week against Baltimore, much bigger test, much better team, something to handle 6 days from now. But right now, this is one of those instances where I hope the food tastes better because of how hungry you were. I don't think the Chiefs gave you the best meal of your life last night. But it had been 2 weeks without hot food, and we hit the drive-thru, and that Taco Bell slapped. That's what last night was. There were some frustrating things. Andy Reid was, pretty open about the stuff that he's deeply frustrated by, which I think is fascinating. We'll get to that and kind of circle the second quarter as the second quarter circled the drain for those 15 minutes. But we must at least appreciate the fact that if they did not win that game last night, today's show would have been a funeral dirge. Not only because 0-3 is really tough to come back from, statistically, it's even tougher than coming back from 0-2, but because the vibes, as we talked about last week, the vibes would have been just about unsalvageable. And this is kind of the thing that we talked about on Friday that turns into a positive result and kind of a lukewarm process. Because we talked about on Friday, I thought that the same Chiefs team at the same level of performance that lost to the Chargers and Eagles would beat the Giants just if you just copied and pasted that performance across 3 weeks. And I think that's exactly what happened. You had some self-inflicted wounds, some ridiculous mistakes. The Chiefs did get a pair of turnovers. That was a difference from this performance last two. We're going to spend some real time on the secondary because they deserve it. The biggest high, the best perk of that game last night, the Chiefs secondary went bananas. But I think it's fair to say that the Chiefs didn't get significantly better in week 3. Their opponent got worse. And that counts for something. Now, the Eagles needed every second and a little bit of magic to survive yesterday. The Chargers are 3-0 alone at the top of the AFC West with room. The Chargers, in a little tangent here, but the Chargers, weird scheduling quirk, started their season with 3 consecutive divisional games, and they won all 3 of them. So the entire AFC West is 1-2, with the Chargers being one of the losses for all 3 of those teams. The Chargers are in the driver's seat in a major way here. If you are skeptical of if they're going to be in the driver's seat 14 weeks from now, I'm kind of with, I also have my questions. But right now, it's as good of a start as you can be off to. Like, literally, as good of a start as you can have in a division through 3 games. But I think that means the Chargers, we've seen evidence, the Chargers are a good football team. The Philadelphia Eagles are a very good football team. If you're going to do tiers or you're going to do your top 10 teams or whatever, both of those teams deserve to be up there. The Giants are one of the more dysfunctional organizations in the NFL, and they looked like it last night. At times. At times it was sort of scary, which is still concerning. But even if the Chiefs right now, and I think this is probably at least mostly true, even if the Chiefs right now, without Rashee Rice, without Xavier Worthy, just with the guys who played through these first 3 weeks, if the Chiefs are an upper middle of the pack team right now, they lose to the Chargers and the Eagles and the Ravens and the Lions, and then the Jags are right there neck and neck. But you gotta beat the Giants. And they handled that particular bit of business last night. So that counts, right? I have no interest in being like, yeah, the Chiefs just woke up, rolled out there, and won. This, to me, is not the Panthers game of last year where a win felt like a loss. The Chiefs beating the Giants is a win that felt like a win over a bad football team. You got to have some of those. I'm happy to have that in my life. They had to handle business that way, and they did. The second quarter, we'll get to in just a second still, but the second quarter and going into halftime, if you don't remember, I will remind you what happened there in a moment. That was enough for me to start going, oh my God, oh no, oh no, not the Giants, not week 3, no, not the only team they've never beaten on the road, which is absolutely insane. The Chiefs had lost at the Giants in the 1970s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, 2010s. They broke it in the 2020s. Crazy stat. I am remembering how I felt as halftime came around and going, oh God, this is just ugly enough that things could get out of hand. But first, I want to spend the time on the positive that deserves it the absolute most, because you see the negatives and you freak out, and that's the thing that ends up demanding most of our attention, and understandably so. But we spent a decent amount of time last week talking about, hey, it was, I think, 37 points for the Giants last week against the Cowboys, who stink. But Russell Wilson had those 3 absolute moonball touchdowns, and he was hunting for the deep ball last night, too. You saw on a number of occasions him back there scanning and looking, trying to find one of those deep shots, and then he ends up checking it down to Scatterbo, and you take whatever yards are there. And Cam Scatterbo ended up being the Giants' leading rusher and receiver. 6 for 61 on the ground for Cam. He had a good game. I was worried for a little bit that he might end up having a great game. He didn't. Good game. Very good game for the rookie. I will take him as the Giants' leading receiver 1,000 times in a row. Excuse me. I will take him being the Giants' leading receiver 9 out of 9 times if I have that matchup across from me. Wan'Dale Robinson went wild last week. He ended up with 1 catch for 26 yards on 4 targets. Malik Nabers is a legitimate top tier, maybe if you have Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson as the only top tier receivers, and then you start slicing it up after that, I guess maybe he's second tier. If you're drafting young players to build your franchise around, Malik Nabers is going very, very, very high. And they tried to get him the ball. He ended up with 7 targets. I am sure that Mike Kafka was trying to get the ball to Malik Nabers more than they got it to him, and he still got 7 targets. For 2 receptions, 13 yards, and a pick from Jalen Watson. The only unit that was in a terrible place in week 1 who has completely washed that away from me is the Chiefs secondary. I don't even know if the All-22 is out yet. Probably not, right? I have not gotten to rewatch this game because it was a primetime game, and I did post-game, and then I came here, and I fell asleep, and I woke up, and I did a little radio, and now we're here again. So I'll watch some of this to try to get a little bit of a better understanding of how they pulled this off. I don't know if it's just straight-up better play from Shamari Connor and Jaden Hicks, who really struggled in week 1, or if it's a little more climb in the right direction of Trent McDuffie in the slot, Noel Williams playing more on the outside, even with Christian Fulton out, who, again, maybe I'm wrong about this, but was my favorite signing of the Chiefs offseason because I liked the idea of him and Watson on the outside, McDuffie in the slot. Jalen Watson seems to be playing really good football again. I'm curious if it's some Spags magic, if they've simplified some things. Maybe it was a little too complicated in week 1 against the Chargers because there were all those communication breakdowns, at least what it looked like. So we'll see how the next few weeks go, but I am back to a point where I have trust and belief and expectations from the Chiefs secondary. I think they've absolutely earned that, and 3 catches for 39 yards from Malik Nabers and Wan'Dale Robinson combined is a hell of a performance there from a team that wanted to get them the ball. It's not like the Giants were rushing the ball so successfully. They ran it well, so successfully that they weren't trying to throw it anymore. The Giants were trailing in this game, could not get a spark offensively. Malik Nabers is a human spark in that offense. Couldn't get him the football. That is massive. I'm impressed with that. I'm hopeful for Noel Williams. I am hopeful for the whole safety rotation. Brian Cook made a great pass breakup with Malik Nabers in the end zone. They both got hurt. Both came back. Very heartened by that. I think that's the unit on this team that I have now gotten back to the least worried about, I suppose. Because Patrick Mahomes, I guess, in some ways is a one-man unit. I'm not, quarterback room, not really what I'm thinking about. And in terms of a collective that had a bad week 1 and then had 2 really good games in a row against really good receivers in the Eagles and the Giants, thrilled that the Chiefs secondary took the step that they did. So let's talk about the second quarter. I thought it was fascinating that in his opening statement after the game, Andy Reid said, quote, "The second quarter was hard to watch." And there was some really bad football in that quarter. I had to go back through the game notes, the Chiefs replay notes I take during the game for the Chiefs Radio Network postgame show. So I'm constantly like trying to keep the narrative of the game. Then we splice in the Mitch Holthus highlights, and that's one of the last segments we do for our post-game show there. And what that does is it lets me go back after the fact, and I can see the narrative, the flow of how things went, where things were falling apart or coming together, and how that made me feel. Here's some things that the second quarter of this football game included. The first lateral debacle that Isaiah Pacheco spiked and skipped to Kingsley Suamataia. A Mahomes 14-yard scramble on 3rd and 12, undone by a Jawan Taylor illegal formation. A 3-pass sequence that lost 2 yards, setting Harrison Butker up for a 40-yard field goal, which he missed. An 8-play, 70-yard Giants touchdown drive that was basically all run plays and penalties. 3rd and 9, they got an incompletion, and then George Karlaftis popped Wilson late, free first down. The second lateral fumble, whereas Isaiah Pacheco going sequence that included Patrick Mahomes, I think literally, saving the football game, because if he doesn't get the ball back there, it's 13-6 Giants, and the vibes would have been in the garbage disposal. No Williams face mask penalty, got the Giants to the 26-yard line. Then, mercifully, Jalen Watson's interception on Malik Neighbors in the end zone turns the tides. Better now, right? Wrong. Should be deep ball, Tyquan Thornton touchdown was instead nearly picked. Juju Smith-Schuster dropped a wide open first down. Brian Burns almost had a pick as he jumped up and batted down a pass at the 20, which would have, again, been a disaster. And then 3rd and 10, illegal contact, gives the Chiefs a first down that they got by penalty. And then the 52-yard pass interference penalty that goes against the Giants on Hollywood Brown just teleports them down the field. Chip shot field goal. Butker makes that one. That's a terrible quarter of football. And it's significantly worse if Patrick Mahomes doesn't essentially force a fumble and recover it, just take the ball away from the defender, and Jalen Watson doesn't make that pick. And if the DPI against Hollywood 50 yards downfield, if that doesn't happen, doesn't get called, whatever, we are in a dark place at halftime. Even with the pick and the penalty and the field goal, it was like, oh God, that was extraordinarily ugly. And Andy Reid literally said that early on post-game, that it was hard to watch. Because it was a comedy of errors. It was too many mistakes, self-inflicted stuff, and a couple of plays from the Giants here and there, but just not plays that a top-shelf football team is making. Then the start of the second half, Patrick Mahomes goes 5 for 5 for 45 and a touchdown. Isaiah Pacheco, who I really thought might have gotten absolutely banished to the shadow realm after that second running backwards, hips facing the wrong end zone. That is the type of play that sometimes I think you just stop seeing a guy for a while after that. The Chiefs went right back to him. He had 5 carries for 24 yards, about 5 yards per carry on that next drive. 2 Brashard Smith jet motions. One of them he got the ball on. No penalties. The game completely turns around there. The Chiefs get the ball out of the second half. They put together clean football after decidedly unclean football right before that. I think it's interesting that Andy Reid seems as frustrated as a lot of you feel. I think it's probably good. A couple of questions in the chat, and I saw some more go by earlier. We'll try to catch up some of these after we take a little break so I can kind of scan through what we've got. Tyler asked why Josh Simmons didn't play the last few snaps. I don't think Andy mentioned that after the game. He was on the injury report with an illness during the week at some point. It might have been like a dehydration thing for Josh Simmons. But if it would have been anything serious, I think Andy would have mentioned it post-game. And I don't think we've got anything new on that today yet. And then Stanley asked, anyone heard what Reed and Kelsey were yelling about? I want to talk about that a little bit. I don't know what specifically they were yelling about. I don't know if it's Kelsey not wanting to come off the field, wanting to play more, the Chiefs trying to handle the snap count a little bit, although he's played a ton of snaps already this year. I don't know if it's offensive play calling. I don't know if it's Kelsey wanting the ball and not getting it. I don't know if it's Kelsey wishing he was getting open and couldn't be. I really don't know. And I don't really care. because I don't think whatever it was about in that moment really matters. Andy got asked about that several times post-game last night. And I'm paraphrasing here. I don't have the exact quote in front of me, but he said something like, hey, like, don't make too big of a deal out of that. And then on several occasions said, like, he's emotional. That's Travis Kelce. It's an emotional game, and he operates like that. Now, look, if a 35-year-old out in real life screams in my face and chest bumps me, I'm going to handle it worse than either Andy Reid or Patrick Mahomes did. Football's only kind of real life. Like, the things that happen on a football field are assault in every other facet of life, but it's football. The things that happen on the sideline and how you treat your coach and how your coach treats his players and all of those things, that matters. But there is no question whatsoever in terms of, does Travis Kelce and Andy Reid, do they respect each other? There's literally no room for a doubt. That is a duo that has been doing this together for almost a decade and a half. Seems crazy. Not quite. I guess I'm rounding up, but more than a decade. And Andy Reid has seen Travis Kelce grow throughout this process, which also means Andy Reid was here when Travis Kelce was letting his emotions turn into a 15-yard penalty. You remember. You've been around. Sometimes it's a gesture at the ref. Sometimes it's a throwing of a towel or a throwing of the flag itself. So I don't think that whatever the spark was in that moment between Reid and Kelce, I don't think that matters. What I do think is interesting is that, again, kind of back in the same realm as how Reid was feeling post-game. He mentioned, hey, he's bringing energy. And Reid said, again, I wish I should have pulled the direct framing, but Reid said, hey, we didn't have that energy in week 1, something that Reid volunteered in Brazil. We didn't come out with the right energy. Week 2, we got to bring more energy. Week 3, hey, yeah, we were yelling and bumping, but you know what we had? Energy. Patrick Mahomes was putting his shoulder into guys week 1 to try to bring a little bit of a spark. Yesterday, Andy Reid put his shoulder into Travis Kelce. If you're an offensive player and you look over and Andy Reid and Travis Kelce are yelling at each other, getting a couple little chest bumps in, if I'm, just to name a rookie, if I'm Brashard Smith, my ass is dialed in. You're telling me that the head coach and the greatest tight end of all time are both have steam coming out of their ears? I'm not going to make a mistake to be the guy that causes the next thing to roll up. Absolutely not. That's intensity. So I don't think that is a catch-all for all sideline spats. I think that's how I'm seeing this one, very specific to how the Chiefs' season has gone so far. And also, I imagine, we don't know for sure, he hasn't said for sure, I imagine Travis Kelce's looking around thinking, hey, it's probably my last ride out here. And Andy Reid's thinking, it's his last ride with Travis Kelce. I have no idea how long Andy Reid wants to coach or whatever. But this is a team that wants to end this season. This is obvious, I guess, but a team that wants to end this season in a better place than they ended last year. And they ended last year in the Super Bowl. The standard is remarkably high, and they haven't been meeting that standard, especially offensively. They're also missing their 2 top weapons. But for me, that's just all kind of one big stew of the lack of energy in week 1, just one too many mistakes, especially from Kelce, both in week 1 and week 2. And then it turns into a moment on the sidelines on Sunday Night Football. Sometimes you're just yelling and bumping. That's where I'm at on that front. I think that's the 30,000-foot view that I wanted to hit. So let's go ahead, take a timeout here. I'm going to scan through your comments. You can leave them live, and I know Tucker's interacting as we go here too, but I'm going to catch up on some comments during the break. We'll bring Tucker in, and we're either going to have a really nice next segment of this show, or Tucker and I are going to start bumping and yelling.
What's good, everyone? It is KCSN betting analyst Benny Heiss. You know, something hit me as I was driving to the Missouri side, ironically, for something not available on the Kansas side. I cross over. I just can't get over how long sports fans in the state of Missouri have been waiting. It feels like forever. Good news is you don't have to wait much longer, because DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app, is finally coming to the Show Me State. If you're thinking, yeah, but I got to win on the sidelines until December 1st, it's not true. You can sign up right now. And when we go live, new Missouri customers get $300 in bonus bets just for placing a $5 bet. $5. That's not even as much as a pumpkin spice latte that's going to take over. So it's not some ragtag sports, but this is DraftKings. You got live in-game betting. So if your team starts hot, you could jump in mid-play. There's lightning fast payouts. None of that wait 3 days for your money nonsense. And you've got more ways to get in on the action. There's no better way to start. It's all from your phone. When we go live, you'll be betting with a sportsbook trusted by millions, safe, secure, fast withdrawals, everything you want. Well, except maybe a guarantee that your team will cover the spread, but that part's still on you. So here's the move. You download the DraftKings Sportsbook app, use code KCSN, and when we go live December 1st, that $5 bet turns into $300 in bonus bets. That is code KCSN in partnership with DraftKings Sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER, 21 plus and physically present in Missouri. Eligibility restrictions apply. Bonus bets expire 7 days after they are issued. Excludes customers who redeem pre-launch sign-up offer. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos.
Success in real estate takes more than vision. It takes the right financial partner. When someone takes something rundown and turns it into something great, that's called a comeback story, like Brain Group. They take distressed properties here in KC, completely rework them, and then turn them into valuable real estate. But that kind of work needs the right bank behind it. Enter Emprise Bank. They're not about cookie-cutter loans. They saw Brain Group's vision, backed them, and now they're making big moves in Kansas City real estate. Talk about your partner in possible. Emprise doesn't do one-size-fits-all financing. They invest in potential and back growth. Visit emprisebank.com/KC to learn more. Emprise Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Comments here, and then we'll check in. Tucker, I need to get your vibes evaluation. As a vibes conservationist, I want to get your vibes your vibes evaluation of where the Chiefs stand here now. But a couple of comments real quick. First of all, I just love this from two absolute road dogs who are just around the shows all the time, Scott Lawrence and Jackie Moon. Back-to-back comments. Scott says, Fulton's gonna have to earn his job back, IMO. And the next comment, sent I'm sure at the same time, Jackie says, am I crazy for not understanding the Noel Williams hype? He was not great, IMO. Just a couple of dudes in their opinion. I love that. I have no idea, guys. I do not have a strong Noel Williams take. He made a couple of plays, like relatively smart plays. He kind of got away with one last week that was like, oh, that's a good play or a penalty. Let's find out. Good play. What I will say from me is a huge thumbs up there is just that it seems like Spags is trusting him to get in the mix a little bit. Najee Johnson's going to be available to return after one more week on the sidelines. We don't know where Christian Fulton's at. You got to have something. I also don't think I've said Chris Roland Wallace's name yet, which is my fault. Talk about the safety group taking a step up. I've always liked Chris Roland Wallace. I don't know what exactly he needed to do to get some more playing time, but now he's a safety, DB, all of that. I'm excited for that. And then also a shout out to Black Sheep Ministry, who left the comment earlier and said, Josh, I just want to thank you for your dedication. Before KCSN, your podcast was everything, and here we are all the way from Florida. Thank you very much. It has been a very fun number of years to talk about this team, and if you haven't figured it out, I do generally like talking when I'm allowed to kind of steer the ship in whatever nonsense direction we will eventually swim into. So thank you very much for that. I really appreciate it. So Tucker, let's get the Road Dog. Put it in your bio. Officially, well, so Road Dog is just going to be like that's not an official everything else term. I think Vibe Hunter is pretty codified at this point. That's the leader in the clubhouse. But with that said, Tucker, we got vibes hunters in the chat. We got vibes cultivators here and there trying to figure out where the vibes are at. Where are the vibes right now? The Chiefs won a football game. It was against the Giants.
I ran a poll, actually. I'm glad that you mentioned this. I ran a poll on the KCSN YouTube right now. How are your Victory Monday vibes? Your choices were great, good, meh, bad. 53% of the vote going to good. So the vibes are good, and I think as it should be. The vibes should be good. Won a football game. Meh coming in at 24% as your second place vote. Great at 18% and bad at 5%. I think
I'm happy to hear that.
Yeah, I'm glad. I think if you voted bad, you're just kind of like a nihilist, right? And you just like maybe a pessimistic look out on life. And look, I understand some like frustrations from that game. Not every game is going to be perfect, but it's just glad that You know that oh gosh, what is it from? I think it's from The Office, where he says it's just nice to finally win one.
Yeah. Yes.
And that's kind of how
Yes.
it's Kevin. Yeah, it's Kevin. It's just nice to finally win one. That's kind of how that felt a little bit. Even though it had been, Kim was talking about, he's like, oh, it's only been like 2 weeks since they won. And I was like, Kent, they lost the Super Bowl, and then they lost every preseason game, and then they lost the first 2 weeks. And he was like, oh, yeah.
It's been 8 months.
Yeah, vibes were not high. I do think I talked about this on the post-game show, and I'm curious, Josh, if you had a similar experience, because I also talked about it on that football show, and I guess what I do is just talk about the same things on everything that I go to. I'm sure people really do enjoy that.
It's a buffet.
It really is. I went into this game, and I think you and I had the conversation on Friday of just like, you know what? Just win the football game. Just win the football game. And we don't care how it looks. Just get out of there with a win. Got to be 1-2. And I think I asked you if it was a can't lose or a must win. And I asked Verderame the same question. He said, I don't care. It just has to be 1-2 after the fact. And then, Josh, that second quarter happened. And then I was like, you know what? Maybe I do care how this game ends. Maybe I do care how it looks. I think I do actually care. I was wrong. But no, it was one of those. My vibes are better than expected. It's so funny. I know Andy Reid talks about this a lot, like it's how it's hard to win in the National Football League, and we kind of got we got tired of hearing that last year. It's like hard to win in the National Football League. Losing those 2 games and then having that Taco Bell after, I think was a little bit of it. But like they won this game 22-9, and was that game really ever in doubt after like they went up by however much they did? Not really.
The first drive of the second half, I felt like we could kind of all settle back in. The end of that second quarter and halftime, I did not feel good.
Correct. I was like, wow, this is brutal. Like this Giants team is not good, and they are making them. Also, sidebar, the Cowboys must be dog water. If
that defense is missing a couple pieces. I don't know.
Yeah, it's weird. They just need a pass rusher, man. I don't know where they could get one.
They got that tackle from Green Bay.
He got hurt actually against the Bears, which is funny.
Did they? Oh no.
Yeah, not that funny. Trevon Diggs also got hurt in the same drive. Kenny Clark and Trevon Diggs went out on the same drive. Yeah, that was brutal. But no, overall I think the vibes are good. They got to win. They're going to build some positive momentum coming into where the Ravens, they play tonight, right? So we won't know their result. But, like, there's a world where, like, they're 2-2 after the first 4. And if they beat the Ravens, right, on Sunday afternoon, which there'll be more conversations about this. And where you're sitting there, you're like, oh, they're in great position for the 2 seed, actually. Like, after just their awful start. And you're just, like, sitting there, and it's just like, oh okay, yeah, I guess it's just what's happening. It's crazy.
If they beat the Ravens, we're going to have a cocaine party for like a full straight week and not
a bender. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be a celebratory bender, the likes of which we haven't seen since at least January of last year. And I don't, anyway, we'll preview the Ravens game later. I'm excited to watch them tonight and see like, what do they look like against the Lions? And I don't know, maybe that game, Maybe that game goes to every second of overtime, and Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson have like 80 total carries combined. You know, I don't know. Just let's really wear each other down in this one. Let's give Ravens a nice short week. You know what? Maybe let's move the game up. Do you want to play Wednesday? Let's play that game on Wednesday. But I think that's kind of where we've settled in here. I do think the vibes are good, not great. I think the second half vibes were very good. The second half felt like beating a bad team, which is something the Chiefs just haven't done a whole lot of. It wasn't perfect, but it was a whole lot better. And I'm willing to kind of buy some of those upsides. Speaking of upsides, we haven't talked about a guy yet. You may be wondering in the chat, we're going, when are they going to talk about the number 1 receiver? He gets his own lower third today.
Oh, yeah.
It's Tyquan Thornton season. I have been in on the Tyquan Thornton experience for a while. I remember talking about him a little bit last year, and this is just because also the level of like granularness that I was, writing about the Chiefs every day. So when they signed Tyquan Thornton, it was like, oh, hey, you know what? I can kind of see it. Former, second round pick with the Patriots, speedster.
Yeah.
He gets the last couple months of the year. he gets those couple months in the offense, in the system. He's in Kansas City the entire offseason, and pretty early in training camp, it seemed evident, like, oh no, he's the guy who has a chance to fill in a much needed role. There are a few things with him that I think are fascinating. In this game, he ends up obviously with the deep, momentary touchdown. You review, he dropped it. I will say, it was so close to surviving the contact with the ground that if the ball just hadn't moved as much, I think they would have let him keep that. Then they go right back to him, and he gets the near touchdown and sticks up one finger and looks like Bugs Bunny at the bottom of a pile, like, I'm here. Not a lot of great competition. Clearly the best screen grab of the Chiefs season to this point.
Well, I will say that Isaiah Pacheco running backwards is also very funny. Like running his route to the opposite end zone, while not quite the same level of the Tyquan Thornton, it is also hilarious. In that game, that would have been a lot more infuriating if they lost, right? But
yes, that's exactly right.
Like, you see it and you're just like, that's ridiculous.
Yes. So they go right back to him on the one where he sticks his hand up. He was the third read on the red zone touchdown. Tyquan Thornton red zone target was not the plan, I don't think. But you're down 2 receivers, and I will say Jalen Royals' season has been delayed yet again. He was active, just wasn't involved. Not super surprising because he has missed a lot of time, and he's a rookie in Andy Reid's offense. So we check back in week 8 or 12 or whatever, and I was hopeful, but not optimistic maybe about seeing him get more involved. Anyway. One of the things that struck me, I'm going to drop a name here in a second too, Tucker, so just be ready to pick this up for me. Yep. One of the things that strikes me about Tyquan Thornton, and when I threw this to Mitch Holthus last night, he said it was a great point.
Ooh, that's a dog.
Was that, I'm sorry. Usually I just say Mitch, first name basis one, I know. But we talked about it in the post game. He was one of the guys that I wanted to spend a couple minutes on because he seems like a guy who can run cardio for 40 minutes, and when his number gets called, he's ready for it. Yeah. And I don't want to throw barbs to Chiefs legend and Super Bowl champion Marquez Valdez-Scantling, but that was one of the things with him. His best year was great. And when it started falling apart, it just kept falling apart more and more. And Tyquan Thornton could have followed up a drop with a drop. He could have followed up a drop with a pass breakup. And you're going, man, that's disappointing. But he's been open. There was that little kind of quick deep shot, if you will, where I don't know if he was going to the wrong spot or if Mahomes just missed him. I think there have been probably 3 or 4 deep passes, likely touchdowns, that Mahomes and Thornton have missed this year. It's really hard to know without being Andy Reid or Matt Nagy or Patrick Mahomes or Tyquan Thornton to know exactly whose fault was whose. The Xavier Worthy misses last year were relatively easy because you just look where the ball fell and in relation to the sideline. Yeah. These aren't like boundary issues usually. But they have actually missed a lot of these throws, and they keep going back to them, and Thornton does continue making plays even after there's been a near miss. And so what Mitch said yesterday that I thought was also kind of fun, and this puts him in the Justin Watson category. He's like a relief pitcher in baseball, where you go, hey man, you just gotta be ready to step in and have your number get called. And MVS and Justin Watson played a ton of snaps for this team over the years. They needed somebody to do that, even with Rice and Worthy. So I don't know when Rice and Worthy end up back, assuming, hoping, knocking on wood, believing, praying. I
knocked on wood. That was my fault. Yeah.
That's so funny. You reached over to where your soundboard is, and I thought you were like playing a sound, and that was just Lily.
Nah, I just pissed Lily off because I knocked on my desk. Hey, it's good.
You know what?
Me. My bad.
I'm glad to have Lily involved with the show. I have a new way that I might be able to get Hopper involved in the future, but not today. Look, you know what Lily's bringing? Lily's bringing some freaking energy. Lily's bringing some intensity to the show today. That's what we need. I don't care if she jumps up and chest bumps you during the show. We need that. I'm really in on Tyquan Thornton. Again, I don't know what happens if they do get to full health. That's what we were knocking on wood for, I remember now. If that ever happens, I'm not taking him off the field very much. I'm giving him that Justin Watson MVS snap share because what he does is worthwhile. He's doing his job when the ball gets to him. And when Xavier Worthy's back, defenses have to pick. Maybe we continue living in this hell that your too high shells and everything have just made football a shorter game in recent years. But the Chiefs have seen a little bit of single high safety. Seth has talked about this, where if you have Thornton and Worthy both screaming downfield, a safety has to make a decision, and one of those guys is probably going to win and give Mahomes a really good shot at hitting one of those deep balls. So I'm really optimistic. I don't know if I'm quite as worked up as Lily, but I feel pretty good about Tyquan Thornton's season, which doesn't roll off the tongue as well as you'd like.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, yeah, I'm with you there. I see the thought process, though. I do see it. So like, I see the vision. I do think that like he's one of those guys that you can't. I don't think you can take him off the field. One guy I think you can take off the field is probably Hollywood Brown. I think you probably see a significant decrease in Hollywood Brown's snap count and usage, which I do think it's really interesting how they're going to try to figure out all of the ways to fit this wide receiver room. They're going to have a problem of, we all know, oh no, we don't have anyone to throw the ball to, of, oh no, we have too many guys to throw the ball to by week 7, hopefully by week 7. But even if Xavier Worthy comes back, he's got a fully torn labrum and he's going to have a brace on, right? So it's not the same type of Xavier Worthy. Maybe it's more a lot of the yards after catch type of deal of the short screen passes he tries to make people miss, or the pop passes, you see the end arounds, whatever it is. Maybe that's where you can get him more involved, and Tyquan Thornton can be more of that deep shot, that deep threat guy. I've been really impressed. I put it in the chat already. We had a pre-draft conversation with Tyquan Thornton at KC Sports Network when he was at the Shrine Bowl in 20 whatever year that was. Let me see, 2022. So we sat down and talked to him, and he was actually one of our favorite guys because we thought that the Chiefs had a really good shot to draft him because he's a fast guy, right? And that was like, fast wide receiver, mid-round guy. Like, that seems like that is a lock for the Chiefs to pick. So obviously we had posted that on the KCSN channel. You can go watch that and see our conversation with him when he was just a Baylor wide receiver at the Shrine Bowl, which is kind of fun to go back and look on that. But no, it's great to see him come out here and play as well as he has in these first 3 games. I don't know if you saw this, Josh. 3 of his top 4 games of his NFL career have been these 3 games with the Kansas City Chiefs. And it's actually has to be infuriating if you're a Patriots fan to say, like, we cut both Juju Smith-Schuster and Tyquan Thornton from our team, and now they're both like the best receivers that the Chiefs have at the moment. So that has to be frustrating. But I don't want to like change gears off of Tyquan Thornton so quick, but Andy Reid is talking as we're currently recording this podcast. He's talking about some of the stuff. He's
talking right now. I think that was supposed to start 45 minutes ago. Interesting. No, you're good.
Yeah, 12:40 was when this tweet was sent out by Charles Goldman. He's talking about Jalen Moore coming in the last 2 series.
For Simmons.
Andy Reid says it was just to get him some reps at left tackle and had nothing to do with Josh Emmons.
I just realized that because this is an audio program, I do have to talk, and I can't just sit and stare at you.
That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. It makes more sense at right tackle.
He also said that Mike
if he would have done it at right tackle, I would have.
Yes, 100%.
Okay, so I also thought I saw Caliendo, but I think he reported as eligible. This is a Nick Springer note because I asked him. He was coming as a 6th lineman, right?
Yes, but he didn't replace Kingsley. He just came in as a 6th lineman to report as eligible, is what Andy said. That's really interesting. I saw that. I quote tweeted and just said, because that doesn't pass the sniff test for me initially.
Me either. I guess if I was gonna make an argument for what that means, if that's completely above board, totally honest, totally true, I would guess, he hasn't played any left tackle, so get him out there to have a little bit of room for him to potentially step in for Josh Simmons if there's an injury. But get it? I don't have a problem with Josh Simmons finishing out a game full of reps because he's a rookie. And Juwan Taylor's had he had some bad reps and, his alignment. And last week he had more penalties. And again, he just had a killer one yesterday. Throwing Jalen Moore at right tackle, the place he played in the entire preseason, would make some sense, I guess. unless it's, hey, Jalen Moore, you've played right tackle in this offense in the preseason. Here is an opportunity to get a few left tackle reps, just that you can get. I would have preferred Andy say, yeah, Josh Simmons was a little dehydrated, and we wanted Jalen to get some reps at left tackle. Yeah, I would rather him just do that, I think. That's
rather him say he pulled the old Anthony Richardson if he tapped the helmet, like, hey, come on, give me one.
Yeah.
That's confusing.
I don't know. That is confusing. I will say, despite the fact that it has brought me and Tucker to an absolute screeching halt, it probably doesn't mean anything.
Right.
Unless there is another meaning that we just haven't figured out yet.
I don't know.
Very weird. Yeah,
Simmons
extremely
Simmons
strange.
did play his worst half of football in the first half. He played a lot better, but I mean, this is like one of the best, like dudes wise, one of like the best defensive lines that he'll face probably all year.
Yeah, absolutely.
To, like Kevon Thibodeau, Brian Burns, Simmons got called for a hold, which I was like, I don't know what more Simmons can do there. Which I thought was kind of like a weak hold where he just kind of like laid on top of Brian Burns, who was dipping really low. So it's just like,
yeah,
I didn't think like that was a very good hold call. But yeah, I thought Simmons played a whole lot better in the second half of that game, much like the rest of the team did. But I do think that's interesting. Charles also notes that Rashee Rice can rejoin the team this week. So he can rejoin with the team. Andy Reid said we do get 4 back, and I know the guys will be fired up to see him. He can't practice, he can't be on the field, but it'll be good to have him around. So
okay,
that's a little bit of a boost too for this Ravens game coming up.
All right. Well, the tackle thing is still, the Josh Simmons thing is still odd to me. But again, like if it was a little dehydration where he was again like impacted during the week and he just like survived through the game, I would just say that and that'd be fine. I cannot stress this enough. I don't think there's a 1% chance that Jalen Moore starts at left tackle next week and that the Josh Simmons experience is ending at about the same time the Kingsley Sumatai left tackle experience happened. That's not it. So don't freak out, but that's kind of weird. Again, I think, like Jackie says, the hidden meaning is that he got reps so he can come in next week when Taylor gets benched. Why not just put him at right tackle and let him get some right tackle reps where it's more likely that he would step in? I don't know. Interesting.
Do you think it's because he knows if he puts him in at right tackle that there's going to be more just like, oh no, they put him in right tackle, they put him in right tackle, they put him in right tackle. But if he puts him in at left tackle, people would just be like, that's weird.
Yeah, that's weird. yeah. I don't know. Whatever works, I guess. All right, bring on the TV frame. Bring on the filter. Bring on the sadness. We got 2 everything else topics for you today, but this is the one you're here for. Thank goodness. We're not doing sad Chiefs fans for a 3rd consecutive week. Beards McFly has been in the lab. He's been in the depths of the internet, and Beards has trolled the waters for sad fans. Without further ado, I present to you Sad Fans, New York Giants edition.
And now, a list of things said by sad Giants fans. Who told Russ to cook? Unwatchable football organization. Unlimited. Triple coverage to the 5'7" wide receiver? One day I will get to watch a good, fun, competent football team. That day is not soon, but it will happen eventually. Just want football to be fun again. Is that too much to ask for? Comment. I got my hopes up that we'd at least get a watchable offense after last week, but it seems like an aberration. Reply. I mean, they lost to the Bears today, so throw the ball to neighbors, you jamokes. Very interesting strategy from the Giants offense here to never throw to their best player. In the year 2055, State Farm will be up to 5 celebrities per commercial. Someone call these bags and tell them to throw the ball to neighbors. Holy Can't we sign Messi? He's due to play in New York on Wednesday, and he is here already for practice. Why is our offense from 1957? You can't blame Russ for throwing that one. Yes the I can. You morons want Dart to die by week 5. Put Jameis Winston in for some entertainment.
That's a good point.
LOL, the morons screaming, we want Dart! As if he'll be any better. Dude, this team is cursed. How long are we going to suck on the of my Super Bowl win against the Patriots almost 2 decades ago? I don't care anymore. At what point are these wins not worth it anymore? Because this perpetual garbage. I'm not even kidding. Let's Scataboo kick. What's the absolute worst that could happen? At least there's hope, according to Maria Taylor. My apathy for this team might be at an all-time high. I, for one, am shocked Andy Reid made adjustments and Shane Bowen didn't. So this is how functional teams respond after halftime. Wow. Prime time, bro. Why'd they make us tired as hell on a Monday for this dog? Dart came in because the old man was out of breath after that run. Is Dart ever going to throw an NFL pass? Find out next week. They make Dart go through a humiliation ritual by bringing him out there for some random run play. Jackson RB4 Dart. Is he unable to throw the ball? It's 1st and 10. We can't just throw it away on a run again. Bring in Jackson. Let's ease him in while making him scared to throw and open to getting a concussion for 3 yards. Solid game plan. Comment. This league is never going to forgive you guys if you get the Chiefs right. Reply. I really do not care. Russell Wilson is an enemy of the state. You just have to get Russ back there to throw a hospital ball into double coverage. I'm tired of this pickle tickling with Dart. Someone make a "it's the same picture" meme with Joe Judge and Brian Daboll. My prediction. It'll be close enough for 3.5 quarters to give me hope. Then some bullshit's going to make the Chiefs win at the end. Me from 3 hours ago. Literally never heard of Tyquan Thornton. Trade Russ for a washing machine. There is no actual play calling, is there? Russ just has Imagine Dragons in his headset. My fiance is a Bears fan, and I'm having way more fun watching games with her. Giants are down so bad. What a game! Can't wait until our Week 12 moral victory to put us at pick number 3 again. Daboll is a genuinely head coach. Scientists are going to be studying how the 2022 season happened with this trash of a head coach. So Dart is on the bench so he can learn from Wilson. What the f*** is Wilson supposed to teach him? What not to do? Where can I collect my Fell For It Again award? The best part about that game is that it ended. Rebuild 5! Let's hear it for Rebuild 5! It's bullshit. This trash franchise won't at least give us some entertainment value and play Jameis. All it was going to take for a win was a competent organization. Unfortunately, that ain't us! And now, the runner-up of things said by sad Giants fans. Comment. Should I go no contact with my dad, parentheses, who I love very much, for making me a Giants fan? Reply. Dog, I'm a Titans fan. I should file for abuse charges against my dad. And now, the winner. Unlimited diarrhea.
That's good stuff. And also, the winners are always such a good insight into Beards' personal sense of humor.
Yes. Yes, it is.
Several of those really stick out to me. First of all, I think my winner is the one that made me imagine Russell Wilson in the huddle and his speaker is just playing in the worst quality that any speaker has ever been. Just going,
Right.
lightning and the thunder, thunder, lightning and the thunder. Just looping while he's throwing balls out of the back of the end zone on 4th down.
We did. I know you kind of talked about this a little bit. I don't know if we talked about like that whole sequence there where he was just like throwing it away 4 straight times and then did like a quarterback draw for
like
some
I think
reason.
a draw
for a
RPO
yard.
maybe.
Yeah. And then Jackson, I thought it was so funny. Jackson Dart came in and they ran like the read option plays for him. And then Jackson Dart gave it both times, right? And Russ says, I know what I got to do. I know what I got to do. I got to pull it. I'm going to keep it. They're going to expect me to give it. I'm going to keep it. And George Karlaftis was able to flip his hips and track him down. I mean, come on, dude. Yeah. Karlaftis, by the way, stat sheet shuff. Oh, try to say that one 5 times fast. Stat sheet stuffer in this game. Yeah, they get like 10 tackles. He had a very great stat sheet game. And Russ's interceptions were both woefully underthrown balls. Like both were just very terribly thrown balls. Like shout out to the Chiefs secondary, obviously, but like also shout out to Russell Wilson because, boy, he's not good. He should have retired. He shouldn't have played. The New York Giants got to play Jameis, or maybe they should have kept Tommy DeVito, or maybe they should have done anything other than
3-0 Daniel Jones. How brutal is that to be a Giants fan right now? Daniel Jones' team, I think, has punted once now through 3 games.
That's insane to think about because, like, not like the Colts are world beaters in it. They got a good roster outside of their quarterback, but, like, I mean, Jonathan Taylor looks really good. Like, that helps. Yeah. Who would have thought having a running game helps?
Imagine a guy like Jonathan Taylor on this Chiefs team. Yeah. We are going to the same place. Much like the 2 running backs you're thinking about right now, we just got there at different speeds. I think Beards may have debuted a little Chris Collinsworth impression there briefly. That was exciting. I can't believe how they're doing the Jackson Dart thing, and it's a nice reminder, sad fans of losing teams when it's not the Chiefs losing. It's a nice reminder how the other half lives, because it's been bleak through 2 weeks here. It's not been Giants level bleak. You know what hasn't been bleak for a single solitary moment this season, as far as I can tell? It's time for footy talk! The Kansas City Current did something nuts this weekend, and I was not aware of how utterly nuts it was. The Kansas City Current won the NWSL Shield this weekend. Major trophy for the best regular season team, okay? The Current won that. Best record, best team in the regular season in the NWSL. Good, right? It is good.
Yeah, it's great.
They did it faster than any NWSL team ever. They have 53 points at the top of the table, and the second place team has 37. They're on a 14-game unbeaten streak. The following stats are coming from Vibes Connoisseur, Vibes Hunter, Mike Denny, official Vibes Hunter, unofficial KC Current correspondent of everything else to Joshua Brisco. Unofficial Mike, because this is not a paid position. Maybe we can get you an internship. We'll figure that out. Yeah. Through 21 games, they've allowed 10 goals. They haven't allowed a goal since June 14th. They have a higher goal differential, plus 30, than all of the other teams currently above the playoff line combined. They have 53 points, as I mentioned earlier, out of a possible 63. This is the one where Mike really sold me on this. They clinched a playoff spot, the Current. The Current clinched a playoff spot on August 30th. Then they won the regular season on September 20th. No one else in the NWSL has clinched a playoff spot yet. They won the league before anyone else clinched a playoff spot. They clinched a playoff spot a month before anybody else is going to. It's crazy. They're the 1 seed in the playoff, and they've got the rest of the regular season to figure out how they want to approach that, because they just had the best regular season in NWSL history. It's remarkable.
I'm quickly trying to inform myself on how many more matches they have. It looks like they have at least five matches.
I think it might be 5. I was thinking 5, yeah.
Mike says. Yeah.
There we go. Perfect.
Which is also incredible. Like, they're doing all this with still 5 games to play. Imagine if, okay, so to put this in kind of like perspective for like, imagine if the Chiefs did this, right? So like you're in week, what would it be? Week 13, and you've already clinched the 1 seed, is what it is, and nobody else has the play. It'd be week 13, you clinch the 1 seed, you got everything locked up. Do you sit, like, are they going to have to like sit, you know, their stars for these last
I don't know.
games?
I've been wondering.
Yeah.
So this is a place where I am comfortable admitting my own casualness here,
100%,
just because like as I am dialed and locked in on the Chiefs like nobody's business, and I have been for a long time. Every other sports interest of mine has gotten a little more casual in recent years, and for me that has actually been kind of healing in terms of what sports I care about. Like to be able to put a little bit of distance between fan and analyst or whatever, that can be a good thing. Mike says they've been rotating players since August. That's awesome.
Insane.
The current are the perfect example of a team who I knew they were winning. I simply did not know the level of dominance. So shout out again to Mike. And I am bringing that to an audience here that may be in a similar spot of not knowing about the dominance. And then when the playoffs get here, I am going to, like not a fair weather fan, but a casual fan. Like a casual fan, the playoffs are going to come around and I am going to become vicious about it. And I'm going to care very, very much for that period of time. And it's remarkable. They've got the best player in the sport. They have the best team in the league, and it's unbelievable. I shouldn't say the best player in the sport, because soccer is a big sport in a lot of places. They've got the best player in the league. They're the best team in the league, and it's not close. Just think that's remarkable, and I'm excited for the idea of having a Kansas City championship, perhaps to get to celebrate here before too long. Be very, very welcomed. It's been a long time since we've celebrated a championship around here, Tucker. It's been a couple of years. Well, it's been like a year and change. Yeah,
it's been way too long. I don't know if you've been up by the CBKC Stadium recently. They're building that, like they're building up around it too. Like they are.
Ooh, nice.
The Longs have invested a whole lot. They're building like another practice facility up in Riverside, so just down the road, pretty much from where their stadium is currently. In the is that the East Bottoms over there, is what that's considered over there by 35 and the river. So it's a great stadium. I've been able to play on the pitch there. I did a header on the pitch, not a big deal in the current media game. I did a little leg kick too. Yeah, I got to get one touch in when I go to those media games. Just give me one touch and I'll be set. But yeah,
give me one touch and don't let me barf on the field, God. That's always kind of been my prayer, my silent prayer.
It is. It's a great field. Like their playing surface is really nice too. Like the Bermuda is very nice and plush. It feels good. So like, it's really cool to see the investment they've put into that team. I don't know how they keep getting really good players if there's like not like a salary cap or anything. I don't know. Like I know European soccer is not like a salary cap sport, so it's like however much you want to spend on these players, you're spending. So I don't know if it's the same way with the NWSL or anything like that, but I assume they try to Americanize it a little bit, much like they've tried to with like with MLS and everything like that. But they just keep getting great players. They make some great additions. They've added some really great talent. Obviously, they've got the best player, and yeah, great to see. Great to see those them get after it. Those ladies get after it. It's also great to see the city get behind it too. Like that's what's really cool as well, is to see the support.
They're everywhere too.
Yeah, it's awesome.
This is not a competition. Just something I've noticed. I think I see more current merch than Sporting at this point. And look, that's the power of winning by and large. I mean, the current have been very, very good. Sporting's been in a tough spot for a while, and the city really got behind Sporting in a big way. For it pretty much since its inception, I think, as it's evolved, or at least the rebrand change thing, whatever. All that to say, keep an eye on the current. They are a dominant force right now. And Tucker, I do have an idea for a visual gag sometime around the start of the playoffs.
Yeah.
So I'm saying that to you now on stream. So hopefully you or I or our unofficial everything else Casey Current correspondent / intern Mike will keep us accountable on, because I do want to get that as we go. Meanwhile, we'll be back on Friday with another episode of this show to look ahead to a massive Chiefs-Ravens game. Can't wait to see what the Ravens and Lions look like tonight. You'll have KCSN Live. If you're thinking, man, I wish I had more time that I could hang out on the KCSN YouTube channel around the lunch hour the other 3 days of the week, good news! That's Tucker's time. KCSN Live with Tucker D. Franklin. We've got trick shots. We've got chip rankings. We got guys naming dudes. ladies naming ladies. That we could do that next week. There you go, Tucker. There's a free one for you.
Research time. We looked up the history of Bevo for a little bit on research time.
Hell yeah.
Crazy.
It's a good hang. So hang out with Tucker Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then of course you got the lab Monday, Friday, and Only Weird Games Tuesday, Thursday. I think that, and there's that football show with you and Matt Furter. I don't know. I can't plug every show every time we do this because I eventually realized, there's 400. There's 400 Chiefs / live shows that I want people to enjoy. We'll put a bunch of stuff. Here's one thing I'll plug right now. I've started doing a Substack newsletter, freebie. It's quick. I'm not putting huge magnum opuses on there. But if you go to jbbrisco.com, it'll send you over to that little Substack. And it includes the stuff we talk about in the show, the everything else topics and links out to things. So go subscribe to that. We'll see what it ends up being. I don't know. But it's another element of this that I'm doing that I don't think I've actually mentioned on the show itself yet. So with that being said, we are over an hour. The Chiefs won a football game. The Current are unstoppable, and we are done until Monday. Excuse me, it is Monday. We're done until Friday, and I need a nap, and I'm going to go do that right after I send out the Substack newsletter. Till Friday. Bye, Mom!